when I speak English, I don't think about the true meaning behind things because I'm speaking to other native English speakers. So I've learned to pause when I say something that is not literal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been fun to figure out a creative but simple way to explain it to my subscribers.
I have been saving this story since before for this particular interview because it goes along with what you just said. But back in my first year of school in the US, I was in third grade. I was playing a game with another person. It was a game called Tetherball. So Tetherball is a game where there is a pole attached to a pole that is about 10 feet tall, which is, I would say, about over 3 meters. And then there's a rope attached to the end of it that is attached to a ball. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to wrap the ball all the way around the pole by hitting it. So I was breaking the rules because I didn't know the rules. And the person, my opponent, kept telling me, you can't do that. And what's funny is I looked at him, but I just did. I just did do that. It's all like, no, you can't do that. And then I showed him again. I'm all like, look, I just did it. I must have done the impossible. So I took the you can't do that literally, you know, but it is a common saying in the US. If I were to say it in some way that a person like me back then would understand, I would have said, you must not do that. That's breaking the rules. But you can't do that is actually something we say that we don't think about anymore because it's so common, you know?
You're totally right about that. I guess the more proper way to say it could be you are not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Or you may not do that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, it's more proper to ask in class, may I go to the bathroom, please?
Mm-hmm.
But if you say, can I go to the bathroom? The teacher will probably make a stupid joke and say, I don't know, can you?
Yes.
I've always got that. And it stuck in my head. And I guess that was the point of them correcting me in a joking way.
Mm-hmm.
But I completely know what you're saying. And hopefully you understand too, the meaning of you can't do that. It can mean two different things.
Yes.
Thank you for that example. When you were young and I would say 6, 7 years old, since that's when you moved to the United States, what was it like for you? Do you remember?
So, well, I moved to the US at 9 years old.
Oh, 9.
Oh, okay. So you want the around 9 years old or the 6 and 7?
I want to know
9? Like
what was your experience when
moving.
you came to America? Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So before I came to the US, I knew how to spell in English, but I was missing a lot of context. I didn't know what a lot of the words that I was spelling meant. When I came over here, I actually surprisingly did not end up in an ESL class. And that is because I didn't speak for the first 6 months of school.
Wow.
I didn't say anything at all. So they didn't know that I wasn't able to form sentences just yet. So what happened was I crammed basically, and cramming just means really fast learning a lot of things. I learned English basically as fast as I can through observation and being immersed in an English speaking school. So basically I observed and learned that way. Before I spoke, I learned enough to know a bit more about what I was saying. So I ended up not being put into an ESL class, and I ended up somehow learning how to speak fluent English within 6 months of me being in the US. I have no idea how it happened, actually. I don't know the process. It just happened for me. So I guess it shows the importance of being in a place to learn what you want to learn. It just happens like osmosis.
You know, my next question is, what is osmosis?
Osmosis is actually a process that happens in your cells, and it is the process of something naturally going in, such as water, into the cell. So for me, osmosis is if I am in a place where I'm trying to learn something and I learned something through osmosis, it's because I naturally learned it just by being there. Yeah.
Very good. Well, I know that scientifically it is proven that as a kid, if you learn a language, you'll learn it much faster. The brain is just able to be wired that way. It's harder when you're an adult.
Yeah.
What suggestions do you have for my subscribers as adults when learning English? Is there anything you can suggest?
One thing, because I still keep in touch with a lot of Filipinos in the Philippines, and the Philippines is filled with a lot of people that know how to speak English. So speaking English is almost the standard there these days. Like, you have to. And a lot of Tagalog actually has English words that have no Tagalog like there's no word for it in Tagalog. So we use a lot of English in the Philippines. The ones that I've seen really excel at it have basically watched a lot of US American shows and movies. And if you can't immerse yourself in the culture directly, the best you can do is do it indirectly through movies and watching YouTube videos, such as your Bo Slow English. And that could be your way to immerse yourself in the language.
Do you recommend that they read captions?
Yeah, actually, I forgot to mention that. For me, that is actually helpful. You know, a lot of people like to watch anime, and it is so hard to understand already not knowing much Japanese at all, except for the very basic stuff. It's so hard to not do it without captions. Captions help a lot because it gives context to what you're hearing and what you're seeing.
I appreciate that response. It's actually a really unique response because I've worked with several French tutors, and all of them have told me, don't read the captions. You need to really force yourself to try and understand what they're saying. And for me, I tend to be a rule follower. So if my teacher is telling me, don't do something, you shouldn't do something, I'm not going to do it. But there was one time when I had a tutor, she was actually my Korean tutor. I said, should I do this? Should I do that? She said, well, what makes you happy? What makes you feel good? And I almost cried when she said that because I felt so relieved. Like, if it's that easy to just do something based on your happiness and your emotions, then I feel like you're going to feel less resistance.
Yes.
You know, like, it's not going to feel like you have to follow rules, and you're just doing what your body wants you to do. How do you feel about that?
I 100% agree. From my experience, students sometimes come to me, and one person in particular recently said, you know what? I try to practice on my own, like people tell me, but it's so difficult. I like dancing with people, and when I'm around people, I get inspired and I dance all the time. Should I be practicing alone, like people tell me to? And I said, like, why would you do that if that's not what makes you happy?
Mhm.
If you want to keep going and you want to be able to feel good while learning, do what works for you. And I think we can all learn, we all learn in different ways. And some of us are more visual, and some of us are more, like it's, we hear things and that's how we learn. So for visual people such as myself and most likely you, those captions can really help. So
Yeah.
I think if it makes you happy and you feel good doing it and you're learning, it's okay.